Good evening. I would ask you all to stand at this point so that we can salute the flag. It's over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we will have the national anthem played by Julie Conrad, former music teacher in the Fall River Public Schools, and also past president of the Durfee Alumni Association. Judy? Good evening once again. My name is Jim Gibney. I have had the distinction of being president of the Durfee Alumni Association for the past 3 years. They've really been a wonderful 3 years. Unfortunately, a few hiccups with the COVID virus, but with a group of wonderful members of the board, we have survived. There are 3 people. Let me introduce the people here on the stage first. To my right, first gentleman, doing, I think, a wonderful job as mayor of the city of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor? Next to Mayor Coogan is a graduate of Durfee High School, class of 1961, and currently a member of the Alumni Board of Directors. And he will be introducing one of our distinguished alumni tonight, Robert Karam. Let me introduce Bob Marchand. Bob? Next to Bob is one of the gentlemen that we will be honoring this tonight. He certainly deserves it, Robert Karam. Bob? And last but not least, on this side of the podium, the principal of the high school that I remember when he was a member of the class of '89 out of Durfee just a few years ago. He's doing a great job under what I consider some extremely difficult circumstances. Matt Damaris, Mr. Damaris. And to your right here on the stage, we have our superintendent, who also is always under fire, given this COVID that we're dealing with, also doing a great job, Dr. Matt Malone. Matt? Next to Matt is a gentleman that has become so involved in the city of Fall River, former president of Bristol Community College, also the member of the recent group that brought the Vietnam Memorial statues and platform, etc., here to Fall River. And I just found out recently, and I think extremely important to point out, that in addition to all he's done for Fall River, he was a pilot, an air pilot, back during the Vietnam War. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jack Springer, former president of this community college. Next to Jack is a gentleman that I just found out I hired back in the late 90s. He was a school security officer at first, but he went back to school, continued to push forward. He was a guidance counselor for a while, and now he is vice president here at Durfee High School. Jason Gray. Jason? And last but not least, a young lady that graduated with my daughter, class of '88, out of Durfee. For the last several years, she has been kind of the protege to Peter Coleus, who for many years has been the instrumental person in terms of developing the Durfee High School Scholarship Fund that funds at least 100 youngsters who get this scholarship that they're receiving over a 4-year period. My pleasure to introduce Claudine Cloutier. Claudine? Let me introduce a few people that have joined us this evening. First of all, I saw come in Linda Pereira, a member of the City Council. Linda, you're here somewhere? This year, back there. Thanks for coming, Linda. And we have 3 of the distinguished alumni members over the years who were able to join us this evening. Let me introduce Ed Harrington, distinguished alumni, class of '51. Peter Coleus, wonderful job. He took over the scholarship committee some 30 years ago when it was $2 or $3 million, and now the amount is $13 million. Peter, thank you. And unfortunately, we lost someone who was right behind Peter in helping out, a wonderful alumni who helped with the scholarship committee for many years. She deceased this year, but let us not forget her, Jean Coleus. Read our signatures. And finally, gentleman I went to school with, had many Lebanese meals over his house over on Logan Street near Oak Grove Avenue, a distinguished alumni, Jim Cowan. Jim? Okay, 2 years ago when I announced that it was my opinion that the class of 1964 was the greatest class to graduate from Durfee, I took a beating for the past 2 years. So I will not say that the class of '64 is the greatest class to graduate from Durfee, even though it is true. Okay, and at this point, we have a couple of people that I mentioned that are here on the stage who are going to say a few words. We'll start with the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Matthew Malone. Matt?
Thank you, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with such distinguished Durfee alumni. And I'm an outsider here, but I do know that the first graduating class of Durfee High School was 1888. Around that time, there was probably 65 to 70,000 residents in the city of Fall River. Fall River drastically grew over the next 40, 50 years. So if we do the math, now granted, there was no other high schools other than Durfee, right? Maybe a couple small Catholic schools, but it wasn't a competition that we had today. So let's say it was about 1,000 graduates per year over 133 years. When you multiply that out and figure out with about 133,000 alumni of Durfee High School that have walked this earth, 133,000 that have walked out into this world and represented the great city of Fall River. Now, it means something to be a hilltopper. I've been here 5 years, and I've learned to understand what it means to be a hilltopper. It means to be committed to your friends and loyal at all costs. It means to fight, to always protect and honor the name of your city. And it means to support those who are less fortunate than you. Those are kind of the core values, what it means to be a Durfee Hilltop. I'm joined here tonight by our mayor. We have former President Sprague. Great people who you all know. The Karens, synonymous with the name Fall River. I didn't know who they were, but I heard of them before I came to Fall River. And I've been blessed to be able to know their family. All great people. Your grandchildren are wonderful. And we're blessed to have you in the city and honor you here tonight. And look at our high school principal, a graduate of Durfee High School, and his daughter is here tonight. Talk about a family of tradition, of goodness, of kindness, of justice. It's an honor and a privilege to serve as your superintendent, and I look forward to these amazing students who next week we will confer diplomas on them, and they too will grow or join that growing list, 133,000 strong. Thank you.
Great job, Matt. Thank you very much. Now it's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who's under fire every single day, given what's going on throughout the country with the COVID virus and so much more. I think he's done a wonderful job during his first term as mayor. Let me now introduce Paul Coogan, Mayor Coogan.
I'll tell you right now, my blood runs red and black. I graduated from this school in 1971. I worked at this school for my whole life. It gave me my whole career. I know that these young people don't know what they're going to do. I hope with the rest of their life, but I hope they have goals. Working here, working with your children, were the best times of my life. Even now, I still remember them that way. I love this school. I love this city. And it's a real honor and a privilege that you allow me to talk to you tonight. Let's get on with honoring the kids, because that's what we're all here for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Coogan. We now have reports from some of our committees, and we're going to, I'm going to ask you to accept, and I'll read the names, the report from the nomination committee that has proposed the officers as members of the board for the next school year. They are President Joseph R. Coster, 81, Vice President Paula Kayla, 80, Treasurer Jan O'Brien, who by the way has been the treasurer for 40 years, doing a wonderful job continuously. Jan O'Brien, class of 56. Secretary Charlotte Thomas, a member of that class that I mentioned a little while earlier, class of 64. And new board members, Deborah Orlando, class of 2005. Joyce Perry, class of 1965. Sonia Braga, class of 1997. And Lori Taylor Branco, class of 1984. And a representative from the 25th anniversary committee, Barton Castro. At this point, I would accept the motion from the floor to accept the report from the nominating committee and allow these people to be officers. I've got a motion from Bob Marsh and a second from Bob Karam. They've been through these holy wars before, they know what to do. Is there any discussion about these people serving on the alumni board? Hearing none, please say aye if you want them to be the officers and board members. Please say aye. Opposed? Hearing none. These people are unanimously elected as members of the board and officers of the board. Thank you. We now will have a report from the scholarship trustees. Someone who graduated, as I said, with my daughter back in '88, has been very active and kind of now is working as Peter's understudy, but I think will certainly take over at some point when Peter leader decides he's had enough. Hopefully not in the near future. Let me introduce Claudine. Claudine?
Very happy to be speaking to you all tonight, if for no other reason than because it's a lot roomier up here than halfway into the piano in my chair, so, and I get to take my mask off. On behalf of the trustees of the Fall River High School Alumni Scholarship Fund, I'm happy to report that at the close of the fiscal year in March, we had a value of over $13 million in our fund. It's hard to everybody that's participated in that deserves applause for that. It's hard to verify this, but it is likely, and we believe that it is the largest fund of its kind in the United States. That is a scholarship fund held by a public high school. It's something that all of us should be proud of. The details of how the funds are held may be found in tonight's program. The trustees interview every applicant. Scholarships are awarded based on a combination of academic achievement, extracurricular activities, and need. This year, 21 recipients were selected. In your programs, you'll find the names not only of tonight's recipients, but of the previous 3 years, because unlike most scholarships, these scholarships continue over the course of a 4-year college program. Scholarship recipients, as with any privilege, there comes a corresponding responsibility, and that is the responsibility to maintain your grades and to report them to the trustees. Hang on to your award letters because the instructions on how to report your grades may be found there. You've distinguished yourself among your peers through your achievements, and you've earned these scholarships through your merit. But this money didn't just materialize out of the air. It is given to you by benefactors who earned it. But it's given to you in the recognition not only of your own accomplishments, but also in the knowledge that your hard work and talent deserve to be met with opportunity. And in turn, the opportunities that these scholarships will provide to you need to be met again with your hard work. That's the cycle towards success. In your program, you'll see a list of donors, named scholarships. These aren't all the donors. All the donors list would be far, far longer. It's a minimum of $5,000 to establish a named scholarship fund. Ada Jackson Wilders grew up in a tenement on Quikichan Street. Her parents dropped out of school in the 6th grade, but they impressed upon her the value of education. She applied herself, had a great time at Durfee, and was able to attend college largely through the generous alumni scholarship that she received. After college, she taught in Fall River and beyond, and started a business with her husband, Steve. In establishing her scholarship, she wrote with gratitude of her belief that opportunity for advanced learning is vital to individual and societal growth. Michael Duarte, I believe he's here, so if he could stand to be recognized. Michael Duarte, again, added to the scholarship named in honor of his wife, Ann Biltcliffe Duarte, and her sister Ruth Melnick Biltcliffe. Thank you, Michael. For approximately 40 years, alumni of Durfee High School have held an all-classes reunion in southern Florida. Sadly, the reunion is no longer taking place, but we received a generous gift from their remaining account. Brendan Rocket, one of the finest student athletes, was awarded an alumni scholarship as part of the class of 2017. With his tragic passing in 2019, a fund was established in his name, and we continue to receive funds to be added to it. As Mr. Gibney mentioned, Jean B. Collia's class of 48 was an accomplished pianist, an avid tennis player, and successful business owner. She was active on countless boards and volunteer organizations. She also was the devoted wife of Trustees President Peter Collias. Upon her passing, and with additional funds, the Peter G. Collias Fund was renamed to the Peter G. Collias and Jean B. Collias Scholarship. James Brown, class of 2006, expressed his gratitude for his alumni scholarship that helped him attend Harvey Mudd College by paying it forward and adding $8,000 to the Alumni Scholarship Fund. The Women's Union added to their fund. The Lloyd H. Dixon and Gladys Ramsbottom Dixon Memorial Scholarship was increased, as were the Israel and Ethel Brayton Scholarship and the Philip S. Brayton Scholarship. The The George Lavoie Fund was increased on behalf of his brother Alvin Lavoie. In September 2019, we lost longtime donor and fellow trustee Dr. Dan Harrington. His brother, the Honorable Edward Harrington, who you met earlier, has continued to provide his generous support. The John J. and Elizabeth C. Harrington Fund has now reached $120,000. Thank you. Michael J. Sullivan graduated from Durfee in 1963 and went on to receive a bachelor's degree from UPenn and a master's from Wharton. After graduation, he dedicated his life to public service in Medfield, where his impact will be felt for years to come. The Michael J. Sullivan Memorial Scholarship was established this year. I am personally delighted that the scholarship established to honor my parents, Richard and Cecile Cloutier, for their love and support, was increased this year to the $100,000 mark. In general, the scholarships awarded are four-year scholarships. However, through the generosity of the George Grimshaw and Irene Gutowitz Foundation, we receive an additional $6,000 to be awarded as one-time supplemental scholarships. These scholarships make a huge difference to families facing the financial strain of their children entering college. The program in your award letters lists scholarships that each of you are receiving. I invite you to Google the names of those scholarships and of your benefactors. Find out who these people were and are. What the long list of donors have in common is a commitment to something bigger than themselves, the understanding that helping others is the most gratifying form of self-fulfillment. That spirit is the foundation of any healthy society and is certainly the foundation of the Durfee alumni community. I invite you to build on that foundation in the lives that you live. Make choices that are good for your personal well-being. Choose friends that aren't just fun to hang around with, but actually make you a better person, and be that kind of friend to others. Remember that the surest way to find self-fulfillment is to do good things for other people. Go as far as life will take you, but never forget where you came from. On behalf of the trustees, I congratulate you on your achievements. We're excited to see how each of you will realize the best of yourselves and bring others around you to realize the best in themselves. Good luck.
Thank you, Claudine. To the individuals that will be receiving the scholarship this evening, I believe the number's about 21. And as I mentioned, it's a 4-year renewable scholarship for a significant amount of money. This isn't something just being given to these young men and young women. It's an investment in not only your future, but the future of Greater Fall River, in the Fall River area, and wherever you might end up going once you complete your formal education. It was interesting when I had an opportunity the other day to see the list of the 21 people who are graduating, to look at the type of colleges and the names that they will be attending come September, and hopefully they will not have to face some of the hardships that the college students have faced the last couple of years. As Claudine said, we want you to go on to lead successful lives, but never forget the fact that you're Fall River products through and through, and hopefully proud members of the graduating class of 2021 here at Durfee High School. There was a movie that was out several years ago. It was called Pay It Forward. And the purpose of the movie was to encourage people that had others that helped them out to pay that forward, that as they go through life, they also help others coming up behind them. So we wish you well, we congratulate you, and we want to hear about your successes as you go on. Let me introduce now the principal of Durfee High School, Matthew J. Damaris, and the vice principal to introduce these scholarship recipients, our vice principal, Jason Gregg.
Thank you, Mr. Gibney. As principal of Durfee High School and an alumnus, it's a unique perspective that not many people have had in our school's history. And then when you add the fact that my daughter's part of this graduating class, this makes this night a little extra special. You know, it's all about family. As I look at who's on the stage, Mr. Gibney, if you remember, you signed a letter of appointment making me a teacher 20 years ago, right? I walk these halls, this school we're in, with Claudine, with Mr. Gray, with Mr. Karam's children, okay? I look out in the crowd tonight and I see people that I've known my whole life. Some of you are parents of my daughter's classmates. This school is about family. When I heard the list that you were reading, Claudine, of recent donations, I heard my father-in-law, Alvin Lavoie, giving in the name of his brother, George. I heard a student I had early in my career, James Brown, very, very successful out there in California in the tech world, giving $8,000. That's going to be the challenge that I'm going to put in front of you. You're all about to step into the world and be very successful. So join alumni that have been going on across this world since 1888. These are people that have found success in every industry. We could take hours and read names of people in politics, in medicine, in science, in entertainment, in law. It goes on, and we're expecting that of you too. You know, another distinguished alum here tonight, my teacher at the University of Mass Dartmouth, Dr. Melvin Yokin, would call you la creme de la creme, right? It's about family. For my family, my daughter is going to be a fourth generation graduate in the Hart bloodline in my family, a third generation in the Damaris bloodline, and a third generation in the Lavoie. This is about family. So, the world may lead you to other places to find success, and you might not make your life in Fall River. I hope you do. But if you don't, always reach back and give back, and remember the foundation, the solid granite foundation that we've given you, that this community has provided for you. You've done us proud, continue to do us proud. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here tonight to celebrate 2021 scholarship recipients. The first scholarship is the Ronald Lemaire Memorial Scholarship Fund and Joseph Andrews Scholarship, and Oliver S. Mary E. Hawes scholarships are awarded to Rory Patello, who will be attending the University of California, Davis in the fall. Next is the Robert L. Ferrera Memorial Scholarship and Durfee Southern Reunion Scholarship and Eleanor F. McKee Scholarship and Herman P. Mello Scholarship. They are awarded to Zachary Vitello, who will be attending Boston University in the fall. The B.M.C. Durfee High School Athletic Association William H. Barker Scholarship and Alan L. Jerabak Memorial Scholarships are awarded to Stephanie Cabral, who will be attending the University of Massachusetts, Boston in the fall. The Thomas K. Brindley Class of 1925 Scholarship, and John T. and Louis B. Crowley Scholarships are awarded to Daisy Chimborazo Marquez, who will be attending Roger Williams University in the fall. The Dr. Joseph M. Rocket Scholarship, Class of 1942, and Morris and Ida Horvitz Scholarships are awarded to Bianca Camara, who will be attending Emerson College in the fall. The James H. and Eunice T. Mullen Scholarship is awarded to Nicole De Silva, who will be attending the University of Massachusetts Lowell in the fall. The Edward Borden Jennings Scholarship and Michael J. Sullivan Memorial Scholarship are awarded to Shannon Davis, who will be attending the University of Rochester in the fall. The Jerome Namus Scholarship and Mary A. Draper Scholarship, and Arthur W., Annie M., and Lydia M. Smith, and Robert A. Richard, and Patricia L. Richard Memorial Scholarship. They are awarded to Isabella Damaris, who will be attending Emerson College in the fall. The John J. and Elizabeth C. Harrington Scholarship is awarded to Faith Ferreira, who will be attending Northeastern University in the fall. Next is the George E. Duvall Scholarship and James A. Brown Scholarship, and Class of 1991, Douglas Cavallo and Todd E. Madgcut Scholarship, and Hugo V. Violet Memorial Class of 1933 Scholarship, and Evelyn E. Mason and Nancy J. French Scholarship, and Helen C. Reddy Memorial Scholarships are awarded to Savannah Lido, who will be attending Stonehill College in the fall. The Edward F. and Rose S. Smith Scholarship is awarded to Kareem Mahood, who will be attending the University of Rhode Island. the Frank C. and Alice R. Chase Scholarship, and the Class of 1924 Scholarship, and the Phoenix Memorial Scholarship, Carol, Mother, and Andrew, Class of 1988 Scholarship, Son, and Class of 1960 Scholarships are awarded to Zachary Massa, who will be attending the University of Massachusetts Amherst. The early scholarship holders and John A. Cavallo Scholarship and William H. Lambert, William Lindsay Scholarship, and Annie Jennings Anthony Scholarship, and Helen Simmons Scholarship are awarded to Serene Mayette, who will be attending the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth. The Robert J. Nagel and M. Reader Nagel Scholarship, and James Madison Morton III Scholarship, Harold R. Bannister in memory of James Edward Bannister and Catherine Manning Bannister Scholarships are awarded to Sophie McDonald, who will be attending Simmons University. The Harold R. Bannister and Nathan and Irene Anthony Chase Scholarships are awarded to Charlotte Misterato, who will be attending Yale University. The Richard and Cecile Cloutier Scholarship is awarded to Ignatius Mudo, who will be attending Northeastern University. The B.M.C. Durfee High School Athletic Association, Ernest Baruti and Aaron Dashoff Memorial Scholarships, and Albert G. Pierce Memorial Scholarships are awarded to Catherine Noguera, who will be attending Bryant University. The Class of 1954 Scholarship and Class of 1928 Scholarship and Carmen A. Belmont Scholarships are awarded to Savannah Pimento, who will be attending Emmanuel College. The Class of 1943 Scholarship and Elizabeth R. Stevens Scholarships are awarded to Hannah Reitzes, who will be attending George Washington University. The John S. Brayton in Class of 1931 scholarships and Charles B. Carroll scholarships and Arthur W. Smith scholarship are awarded to Emma Resendiz, who will be attending Suffolk University. The Richard B. Butler, MD, and Milton J. Gilbert, MD scholarship is awarded to Ellen Wan, who will be attending New York University. While we prepare for the picture, if we could have a round of applause for all of the 2021 scholarship recipients.
As Jason Gray was mentioning the scholarships, I could not help but think how many of those scholarship presenters were people that I knew as I grew up in Fall River, and the legacy that they left for this community. So you people have big shoes to fill. I am once again impressed by the colleges and universities you're going to, and know that you will continue to make us proud. At this point, we'd like to move on to the Alumni Award recipients. And the first person to receive a scholarship this evening, I have to apologize to. This is long overdue. This gentleman, Robert Caron, I remember the late 70s, actually the late 60s, early 70s, as he had graduated recently from then Durfee College, and which then became the University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth. How I knew this name, Bob Caron, because he was so involved in the development of industry and business expansion and new development here in the city of Fall River. And as Superintendent Malone mentioned, coming from a family who have themselves all three boys, and the parents must be proud of them. Tom Skip Caron, who was, as you know, basketball coach, athletic director here at Durfee for many, many years. His younger brother Jim, who's here this evening, a former recipient of this Distinguished Alumni Award, and now his older brother Bob, also a recipient of this award. And one of the things I want to point out is Bob was the first individual from Fall River to join the Board of Trustees over at University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, became the chairman of the board, and then went on becoming the first, once again, Fall River resident to be chairman of the entire University of Massachusetts system here in Massachusetts. Just been a wonderful asset to the city of Fall River, and once again, a proud person from his family. To introduce Bob as an old running friend of mine, we ran marathons back in 1992, and we trained together. He is a member of Bob's class out of Durfee 61. Let me introduce attorney Robert J. Marchand. Bob?
Good evening. I really don't have much to say. He just said everything. But you sit down and shut up. You know, I met this man when I was 12 years old. We played on the Dodgers at the National League, Little League in Lafayette Park. And it was a good thing there was no base stealing in those days, because Karen couldn't reach the pitcher's mound anyways. And when I get done, I will call him Mister. And that'll be the only time I call him Mister, because his father was the only Mr. Karen that I knew. And to show you the mores at the time, I went home one day and I told my dad, I saw Tom Karen. And very sharply he said, "Who?" I said, "Mr. Karen." And Mr. Karen was a cool dude. I don't know how we ended up with these three reprobates, but he and I got out of Durfee in '61, and I can assure you, graduates, that we had electricity in those days. But we matriculated to Bradford Durfee College of Technology. Neither one of us were scholars by any stretch, but we made it out. I did the 5-year plan. Boo-boo. Boo-boo is a corruption of the a word for baby, which, given his attitude, it's a crybaby. But it's. I have to say nice things about him because he's my landlord. So it's hard for me to do so. But I did want to say hello to Peter Collins, my buddy, hard guy to work with. But this is about Bobby. He asked me last year to do this. I was shocked, and I said, "Bobby, I can't do this because all I know is bad things about you." You know? But here I am, and my wife said, "Be nice. Did you write anything down?" I said, "About Karen? No way." But what I want to say to you is, most of the people who went to Durfee Tech and New Bedford Tech, we worked our way through. He would have an hour off. He'd walk up a block to the National Bank and work. I worked wherever. But I hate to tell you, kids going to college now, the tuition in those days was $100 a semester. We drank more dime beers than that. But no matter his native ingenuity has led him to what he is today. He's a good guy. He's a real estate developer, insurance. His grandson Justin is downstairs using one of the office. So I told Justin all the good stuff that I'm not going to say here. But I'm extremely proud to be his friend, and I have been for over 60 years. So now it's my pleasure that I introduce Mr. Robert Karen, Distinguished Alumni Award winner.
Jimmy, that wasn't as formal as you expected, was it? I have a little thing to say. You had your share. To the Alumni Committee, I want to thank you for honoring tonight my family and me. And I say my family because my grandchildren are out there, and my son, and my daughter, and my brother, and my sister-in-law. So we probably have the largest crowd here. I should have sold tickets. But I really appreciate you all being here, and I love all of you, and thank you for taking time to be here tonight. I'm pretty sure that many of my Durfee teachers would not have predicted such recognition for me as I'm receiving tonight. Aldridge, Davis, Durfee, and Durfee High School. That's how I went. And strong parental guidance, great teachers and administrators at Durfee expanded my life from my dear friends in the Flint and St. Anthony Desert Church to now include the city through Durfee as part of my life. It was a great eye-opening to come to Durfee. Coming from the Flint section of Fall River and going to Durfee was a big moment in my life. Getting to know kids from throughout the city, getting a driver's license, and broadening my association, yet keeping all my old friends was great. Durfee is where I began to mature. Didn't hurt that Skip Karen is my brother. That was pretty good connection. Jimmy, Skip, and I were and are separate as brothers who love and respect each other. Our families feel the same way about each other. Actually, to me, that is what life is all about. Also in attendance are my terrific grandchildren, I've mentioned that already, who brought great joy to my wife, Susan, and we and I were so proud of each of them. All have attended Durfee. Everybody in my family's attended Durfee. It's boring. Children, grandchildren, everybody. It's wonderful. And all have or are attending colleges or graduating from college, and one guy left at Durfee. We are Durfee through and through. I have one message to you graduates. Getting your high school diploma is only the first step, and I think you know that by the schools you're going to. You're great, you're bright. Getting post-high school degrees at college or in the trades is absolute. You're doing that. And if you're looking for a better life, you have to work for it. There are no free lunches. Leaving Durfee, going to college is going to be great. From then, much is going to be expected from you. Take education serious for a better life. It is about your self-respect, your chance at a better life. Money alone cannot buy happiness. You've heard that. No one can take away the knowledge you gain through education. As now a distinguished graduate of Durfee, I say to you, you gotta read my writing. If I did it, I say to you, if I did it, so can you. Get going. Thank you.
Great job, Bob. When Bob told me 2 or 3 weeks ago that Bob Marchand would introduce him, he said we will at least have a few laughs. Well, he wasn't lying. We've had a few laughs in this presentation. Bob, once again, on behalf of the Durfee Alumni Scholarship, the Durfee Alumni Association, and the Forward Scholarship Association members that are here tonight, we congratulate you on a well-deserved award as a distinguished alumni of Durfee High School. How about one more nice hand for Bob Kennedy? Unfortunately, when we were up in the air up until the first week of May as to whether or not, because of the COVID virus, whether or not we would be able to have this ceremony this evening. So when I called Joe Marshall to say we were having it, he felt awful. Joe had a commitment out of state that he really had to meet, and therefore he could not be here this evening. So I said to Joe, get someone who can represent you and share in this award. And once again, Joe, amongst his many accomplishments here in Fall River, having him serve as chairman of the Vietnam War Memorial Committee, he, amongst many others, were instrumental in bringing a tremendous memorial to Fall River. If you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go down to the waterfront, the Bicentennial Park, to see a truly outstanding commitment and dedication to the over 55,000 young men and women who lost their lives in Vietnam. And again, one of the survivors from Vietnam, former airplane pilot, was good enough to step forward and represent Joe Marshall this evening it is my pleasure to introduce the retired president of Bristol Community College, Dr. Jack Springer. Jack?
Thank you very much. It's my honor to accept this award on behalf of Joe. Unfortunately, he's out of state, as was noted, and he can't be with us tonight. He sends his grateful appreciation to the Alumni Association and is humbled by this wonderful honor. Joe also wanted me to congratulate his fellow recipient tonight, Mr. Robert Caron. Bob and Joe share a long history in Fall River and a long-time friendship. Joe feels honored to be recognized alongside Bob Caron. Both are well-deserving of this honor, and both join a distinguished group of previous award winners across these many years. Almost 100 awardees. What a prestigious and highly selective ensemble. Mr. Marshall is a lifelong resident of Fall River. He's the oldest of 4 children, born of Portuguese parents who worked in the Fall River mills. Growing up, his parents instilled in him and his siblings the importance of education. While at Durfee, Joe worked after school in a local mill and gave his wages to his parents. After graduating from Durfee in 1965, Joe gravitated to the United States Air Force. This was an interesting time for the country. With the American role in Southeast Asia expanding rapidly, Joe soon found himself as part of air crews flying secretive and dangerous operations out of the trying South Vietnam, both in country and elsewhere in Southeast Asia. Nothing so focuses the mind as experiencing a hostile environment with shots fired in anger. Winston Churchill once remarked that there is nothing as exhilarating as being shot at without effect. I can attest with some degree of certainty that the Air Force rarely makes up for such experiences, but after his tour in Southeast Asia, Joe completed his Air Force service by serving in, of all places, Italy. What good fortune he had. Upon leaving the Air Force, Joe returned to Fall River to restart his life. Displaying an amazing sense of acumen, Joe eventually enrolled in Bristol Community College. I have always emphasized for students that they can go anywhere from BCC, and after his graduation from Bristol Community College, Joe fulfilled that prophecy by moving on to SMU, now UMass Dartmouth. He then embarked on what would become a long and rewarding career within the world of finance. In due course, some 44 years ago, Joe created J. Marshall Associates, Inc. This highly successful enterprise provides insurance and financial service products to businesses and individuals in Fall River and across South Coast, Massachusetts. In addition to his business affairs, Joe voluntarily participated in a lengthy and ambitious array of community service activities, mostly within his beloved Fall River. For example, I enjoyed the benefit of firsthand observations about his powerful, effective, and visionary leadership. First at BCC as trustee and chair of the Board of Trustees, and second as president of the Vietnam Memorial Wall Committee. At BCC, he was instrumental in helping to further strengthen the college as a premier institution with new campuses in Bedford, Attleboro, and Taunton, as well as unprecedented enrollment growth of almost 80%. The recently opened Vietnam Memorial Wall was completed under budget and on time, largely because of his excellent leadership and coordination of a dedicated group of volunteers. The Wall Committee raised more than $1.5 million to realize these goals. In addition, Joe has served on several Fall River voluntary organizations, serving the city of Fall River. Just consider that he is the past president of the Fall River Development Committee, the Fall River Office of Economic Development, the Board of Directors at Sir Jobs for Progress, as well as past chair of the Board of Assessors, the Fall River Retirement Board, and co-chair of the Fall River Master Plan Committee. Furthermore, Governor Charlie Baker appointed Joe to the Fall River Redevelopment Authority. Joe is married to the former Joanne Dussault, and they reside in Fall River. They have 4 daughters and 9 grandchildren. I don't know how he finds the time with all these activities, plus run a thriving business. This award is an extraordinary honor, something Joe will never forget. He is most appreciative to the Alumni Association for bestowing this wonderful award on him. Joe and Mr. Carroll reflect the uplifting spirit of this honor and all that Durfee continues to mean to Fall River. Together, they now join an historic pantheon of distinguished award winners. Durfee can take great pride for having instilled a spirit and professionalism and dedication to public service that helped produce these remarkable people. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you for all that you've done for the community, especially your stewardship as the president of Bristol Community College. This will conclude my 3-year tenure as president of the Durfee Alumni Association. I'm really humbled by the fact that when you consider the thousands upon thousands of graduates of Durfee High School, that I'm one of the people that's humbled by the fact that I was chosen by the board to serve as the president. I wish Joe Costa and the new officers nothing but the best. And before I finish, I did mention Jen O'Brien and the 40-year treasurer role that she has played. There's one other person I want to recognize. She really is the backbone of the Durfee Alumni Association, and she has been for years. She's going to continue as its secretary. Let me personally thank Charlotte Thomas for all that she did to make me look good. And to the recipients, once again, nothing but the best to all of you, parents and friends and family members of the recipients. You must be very proud, as well as you should be, of these young men and women. Continue to support them, and they will continue to make us proud. Okay, now at this point, I will have a music selection by Judy Conrad, member of the class of 70. Judy?
We're going to sing this song at the back of your program. Alma Mater and
On the back of the program, you will find the alma mater and the old lang syne, and that is what Judy will present at this time. Please stand. for coming and happy